Hey everybody, Darren here from the Single Dad Zone. So I took a little time off this week just to catch up. I fell behind on a whole bunch of things I had to do basically around the house with the kids. So I was just taking a little break, trying to gather my thoughts, get some good things to pass on to you guys. That'll be coming up next week. But I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about struggles and the feeling that maybe it's time to quit. So probably a lot of you don't know my story, so I'm going to tell you it real quick. I've got stories. Everyone's got stories. That's part of life. But I've got a story about my physical health and what happened to me. So going back in the little time machine, the way back time, in around the summer of 2014, I got hurt. Actually tore. I had what they call it, a full thickness tear of the supraspinatus, which is one of the tendons in the rotator cuff, and I also tore my bicep, partial tear of my bicep muscle. So that was no fun, hurt a lot. We first tried physical therapy, obviously it didn't work because it was a full thickness tear, and then they decided that I needed to have surgery. So in September of 2014, I went in for surgery, and unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. What happened was they damaged my brachial plexus, and it's wonderful how you learn all these things after something goes wrong. So they damaged my brachial plexus, which is the nerve center for all the nerves that go down your arm. So basically you have three nerves that go down your arm. You have the ulnar nerve, the medial nerve, and the radial nerve. So they damaged my ulnar nerve and my medial nerve. And when I came out of surgery, they're like, oh, you know, the nerve block they did, it's going to wear off, should be about 24 hours, and then it's going to hurt a lot, so you're going to need to take some medications. So about 24 hours went by, and my arm was completely paralyzed, and I couldn't feel a thing. They said, oh, well, maybe take a little longer. So we waited a little bit longer. 48 hours later, still completely paralyzed, can't feel a thing. After about 72 hours, I went to emergency room, and they said, you know, you got to go back see your doctor. So I called my doctor. He said to go to the emergency room at the hospital where I had the surgery. I went there, and that's when my ordeal started. So that's when I found out about the injury, and it caused some really significant damage. Even to this day, I don't have much feeling through here. Fine motor movement is very hard for me. I can't really close my hand very well. These two fingers, I don't feel much. So like fine motor movement, like writing and typing, you know, and this is my right hand, it's my dominant hand, it was really hard. But back then, my arm was completely paralyzed. I couldn't move it, couldn't feel it. And if you saw me about a month to 2 months after this happened, my tricep was just like a rubber band. My arm, it looked like it was completely, the atrophy was amazing. What happened, you know, my left arm was tremendous compared to my right arm. And at that time, you know, it was hard. You know, I almost did feel like quitting, like what am I supposed to do? You know, I need my right arm, you know. But you know what, I did, and you know, I was going to physical therapy like 3 days a week, occupational therapy like 2 days a week. I was having all kinds of pain. You know, like when you sit on your leg for too long and you get that like tingling that goes down your leg. That's what I had in my arm, and it hurt, and it was, but you know, I went to my physical therapy 3 days a week. I went to occupational therapy 2 days a week, and I just kept pushing and pushing. I didn't give up. And when I came home, you know what I did? I worked out more. I did, this is going to sound funny, but there's a video called Brazil Butt Lift, and it's all lower body work. So I worked on my lower body because I couldn't work anything in my upper body really. And then once I got the strength to be able to start doing a little bit of working out, you know, I started to do the workout videos that I do. You know, for triceps, you know, tricep extension, right now I could probably easily do 20, maybe even 25 pounds. I had a 2-pound weight. That's what I was working with because that's all I can do. I was barely able to get my arm out as the nerves regenerated and started to heal. I was slowly building back strength. So the moral of the story is that you can't give up. You got to keep pushing. You got to, if you have a major setback, you got to just keep trying. And through time, they say time heals all wounds. I think, physical, emotional, obviously there are some wounds that can never heal, but, for the most part, time does help. And if you just stay consistent and persistent and you refuse to give up, things will improve, things will get better. Physically, I would say my triceps are back to full strength. I mean, obviously I still got permanent damage in my hand, but other than that, I function. My gross motor movements are okay. It's the fine motor movements that really cause me problems, but I overcame a tremendous struggle. And in life, when you overcome these struggles, that's what, if times were always good, then you would not appreciate when they really are good. So when you got to take the bad with the good, because the bad makes you appreciate the good. So that's just what I wanted to talk about, is that when you feel like quitting, when you're struggling, you just got to push through and keep going. And no matter how bad things are, and like I said, my arm was completely paralyzed, but I just kept every day, physical therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy. I just kept going and going, and then I started doing my own workouts, and I just kept pushing. And they even said in physical therapy that they were just incredibly impressed that I exceeded any of their expectations on my recovery and the speed that I was able to build back some strength. So you just got to keep going and never give up. And I will continue with my Single Dad Zone with more episodes coming up this week. See y'all soon.